We here on Autogefühl tell you all about you need to know about the VW Golf GTI in the 8th generation. This all-new Golf generation has the famous sporty trim, red and sporty, and everything you need to know in exterior, interior, and let's say the prospect of the driving experience. And we also compare the new GTE and the GTD. And now join us, Thomas in front of the camera, Holger behind, in Full HD, full screen, and full length. Let's go. In the front, the all-new Golf generation has the different shape of the headlamps. That's the main characteristic, and also stronger hood here, but in general a rather evolutionary change. Then the GTI model here, you can see, has this red stripe that goes all around the front, also into the headlamps, and below that, that's really cool, is the daytime running light. That's not only here, but also in the middle part here. That's really fancy, and it's also working while driving indeed. Pretty cool. Then lower part with a honeycomb structure grille, pretty massive. Fog lamps on the outside, which is an option, and in general a bigger spoiler right there. So overall a pretty big stance on the road already for the, let's say, base GTI model. And the headlamp unit, standard now LED for all Golf and optional matrix LED then for the main headlamp for more high beam function. Well, and why this perspective? I want to talk about the front differential lock. In this case here, standard GTI gets an electronic front differential lock because all the power is going to the front wheels, and then on an electronic basis the wheels are also controlled that you can go out of the corner a little bit better. Maybe there will be a version, like a very sportier GTI version with the mechanical differential lock once again. We'll see about that later. 4.28 meters, 14'4", or 168 inches is the length here of the new Golf generation. And this is more or less the same in length than before. You know, a difference inside the corporation competition is that Seat Leon and Skoda Octavia both now share the longer wheelbase, whereas the Golf is rather shorter wheelbase. Well, for the GTI it's actually good to give it more agility. The GTI comes with a standard suspension, minus 15 millimeters lower, and then optional you can also go for the DCC, dynamic chassis control, the adaptive suspension, as you also already know from the previous generation. Here the GTI comes with a special GTI badge, then starts with 17-inch wheels. These are the optional 18-inch wheels, and optional you can also go for 19. Red brake calipers as a contrast, and here of course very cool fitting to this so-called King's Red metallic color. And towards the rear part we have this additional integrated wing. It's still quite elegant, and you see the main design line is here, dividing light and shadow at the height of the door handles. In the rear I really have to say, wow, I mean this is a base GTI so to say, and it gets this very strong lower spoiler and two pipes, and they're really separated in this GTI here and actually pretty massive, so you don't need like an additional sports exhaust or something. Then new tail lamps here as well, they look very modern, and you get this retro VW logo. Together also you see the GTI lettering has a little bit changed, you know, in this in the style. What do you think? Do you like it? Overall I think when you just look at it as a works GTI or something, you can get it. It has still this elegant look, but definitely a stronger stance than before, especially here in the rear. And now about the engine, a 2-liter 4-cylinder with 245 horsepower, turbocharged, of course, and so the horsepower figure is about the one that you had before with the GTI Performance, now in the base GTI. And of course, all the power via the front wheels. And yeah, we talked about it in the initial Golf 8 review already. No hydraulic struts anymore, same here also for the GTI. The question is really, I mean, we as car enthusiasts, we really like to have hydraulic struts, and it was like a, characteristic of the Golf 8. The question is like, how many customers overall will open the hood? And I mean, how important is it really? And I mean, is the percentage of people that is really not caring about that higher than those who care? I don't know. I just know for a GTI especially, it would have been better with hydraulic struts. And now comparing the GTE exterior, the plug-in hybrid. This one here has a scheme in blue, so you have the contrasting stripe here in blue and the GTE lettering in blue. And again, you see this beautiful LED exterior ambient light, so to say, that goes all around the vehicle. Other than that, the lower part is also the same. In this case, we also have 18-inch wheels mounted. And in the rear, the difference is, here for the GTE, this one does not have a real exhaust pipe that is visible. Of course, it still has an exhaust because there's a combustion in the inside, but you rather have, is it fake exhaust? We can argue about that. It's, let's say, a fake exhaust graphic or something. Now the GTE engine concept. This is a 1.4 liter TSI, so it's a turbo petrol engine, but with a little bit less displacement. But same horsepower figure, 245 horsepower, because you have the additional electric motor and the 13 kilowatt hour battery, so stronger than or more capacity than before in the previous generation. You see all the orange parts belong to the electric drive, and on the left side then the combustion engine, but also all front-wheel drive. And exterior on the GTD, the turbo diesel. This one does not have a contrasting color here, just a silver stripe. And again, you can see when it doesn't have a contrasting color, you can see more of this LED lighting, I think. As for the color, I mean, if it's like red, white or gray, this can be, of course, bought for every version, but we have a little bit more variety. Also in the comp style structure, the honeycomb style structure grille in lower part, you can see here we do not have the fog lights, whereas our GTI and the GTE did have the fog lamps. This GTD here looks, by the way, most impressive of the lineup today because it has bigger wheels, 19-inch, the maximum wheel size here, and also because of this dark gray color, so this makes it, over the strongest appearance. And interesting also that in contrast to the GTI, where the big pipes are basically split left and right, here there's dual exhaust just on the left side. And the GTD comes with a 2-liter TDI, a turbo diesel, here with 200 horsepower, so less horsepower than GTI and GTE, but we already know that the diesel usually have more torque. So, after all, acceleration figures are not out yet. We'll present that to you on a later stage, latest at the driving parts, for example, when we do the reviews. They all, come close definitely, but the GTI petrol will be the fastest. Golf car key is pretty slim and also has this capacitive button style, so to say. And you also have keyless entry, put your hand on the outside to close it. Then also the side mirrors flip in and they also go up. So it's really cool and very even. When you put your hand on the inside of the door handle, then of course the mirrors also flip out again. You also have this hole in here for the standard key. I'm not sure why they did it in that way, probably to save a part that you can, that you don't have to pull it apart. When it's all closed, you have to actually pull the whole part out when you then want to use the manual function. So that's the way it opens, and that's of course cool, a nice solid door closing sound. That's still the same with the Golf. And in the front, The inside of the doors are still with a soft touch as well. Reasonable space at the inside of the doors here for the door pockets, so you can put a lot of even bigger stuff there, no doubt. And then there's this honeycomb scheme also here at the decor elements, and we'll find it all over the interior. Well, digitalization is the scheme of the new Golf 8. Then there are digital instruments, come standard now for all Golf versions, 10.25 inch. The GTI gets the special steering wheel with perfect structures at the side and GTI badge with the red contrast below. Left side you control the cruise control. You can also get an adaptive cruise control optional. Right side then to control the digital instruments. And the seats are really very special. First of all, you have typical Golf GTI checkered structure, or sometimes also called scale paper. Caro it would be in German, and really beautifully done, and it's good to have the fabric surface because it stays cool in summer and warm in winter times, and also that they don't slide around that much. Inside then with some Alcantara inserts, microfiber, really cool, and integrated head restraint already, so it looks really fancy. We'll soon test, of course, if it's also not only fancy looking but also fancy in the comfort, so to say. And let's get inside. By the way, you also have aluminum pedals, as it should be for Golf GTI. Manual seat control here. You can also pump it up y'all, but I put it in the lowest position because me with 1.86 or 6'1" still have a decent headroom left. Back part can be controlled like this, and this is a really very comfortable seating position. So some sport seats bring you less comfort. I mean, there are special ergo comfort seats also for the new Golf. These were really good. We had them in earlier review as well, but they also make a good impression here so far. You have more shoulder support, and in a way that's also good for your lower back because then there's less weight on the lower back, for example. Steering wheel can be controlled in and out, up and down, and so on, so you can find a good seating position. It's not too different than the one from the previous generation. The seats are indeed different. You know, that's, I think, the main characteristic. And of course, when you look to the front, that you have this screen setup. By the way, the materials here on top of the dashboard, they are also soft touch. Now the interior overview. What's really cool is here the ambient light, then also the GTI red here between, and again this honeycomb structure right there also as a decor element. The standard Golf would come with an 8-inch infotainment screen. This one here, the optional 10-inch screen. So also with the red GTI background in this case, soon more deals to that. You can see here no physical climate knobs, all runs here with the sliders. I don't like that. I want to have physical knobs for this one. There are some hotkeys in the lower part. Then the steering wheel with a very good grip, promise a lot of driving fun. Heated steering wheel function will also be available. And you have a special GTI view, soon more deals to this digital screen there too. Other than that, you have 2 USB-C chargers in the lower part, a lot of space for your phone, also with inductive charging pad. Then there's new DSG shifting lever, dual clutch transmission, which is room saving, and also from reverse to D and back, this will be going easier and better because it's shift by wire, no mechanical link anymore. The engine start-stop button is pumping like a heartbeat. That's also a special feature for the GTI. And then you have cup holder area. You can play around with that a little bit, have an adaptive cup holder or just a little bit more space. And last but not least, this armrest which you can put up, and then you have some more storage underneath. Well, we have the dual clutch transmission DSG here, which is pretty room saving and so on, and looks quite fancy and very modern and good for the integration in the cockpit. But it's a GTI. What about the manual gearbox? Yes, I can confirm the GTI will still be available with the manual gearbox. So either the 7-speed DSG or then the manual gearbox for more purist driving fun will not be available for GTD and of course not for the GTE because of the hybrid integration, but the GTI will still be offered with the manual. And these are the special digital instruments in the GTI style, and you can actually then decide what you want to have left or right, for example navigation, or you want some like other information left or right, so you can pick that actually what you want to have, or if you just want to have it clear. And what's very interesting, when I control it here with the thumb, first of all, you can slide like this and something's being doing in the menu, so that's possible, but you can also click it and then it also gives a haptical feedback that you can even listen to. Now more details to the infotainment system. So you have different main menus here, for example, with the GPS. You can slide one more, then you have, for example, the consumption meter and so on. And you know, the icon view here, to me that looks a little bit old school, doesn't it? Telephone either via Bluetooth or Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. CarPlay is also available in a wireless way. At the moment I have the cable set. The GPS looks like this, can also be increased over the whole screen, and the GPS software by the Volkswagen company is usually pretty good and also leads the way. Everything's really clear and crisp, but the white accentuations here, to me, a little bit too bright. You can, however, also adjust the colors of the whole system right here. CarPlay integration looks like this. This is using pretty much of the screen. 10-speaker optional Harman Kardon system is giving a very crisp and clear sound. I like that. It's really, you know, intense, pretty cool. And then you can see here the audio. You slide either or click, so both is possible. But again, no physical button, and that's what I dislike. In the same way also the climate unit works here. By the way, it's off at the moment because the car is off. But the same way you either click then or slide it. So, I don't know. That's actually what I think is not really a step forward. Yeah. So, and you can also click this one, by the way, to here to get to the climate unit right there. And then you have either smart climates, for example, warm hands, cool my feet. This is an interesting idea to offer these climate programs, but you can also program it in a classic way, for example. And then seat heating would be activated right here. But again, I think that's too complicated, especially while driving. However, you can also use the voice command with "Hello Volkswagen." Hello Volkswagen.
What can I do for you?
Increase temperature.
This function is currently unavailable.
You see, because the car is off, but she actually recognized that I gave the right command, so that would work. Or, for example, you can also press the voice button in the steering wheel. Drive me to Berlin. Let's see if that works.
Please say the full address, starting with the city.
Okay, that should have worked a little bit better. So I feel still that the Mercedes and BMW natural voice input is a little bit ahead of this one still. Now to the rear. You can see here the checkered structure in the red contrasting is also for the rear seats. Looks nice and sporty. This is really a very good materials they use. However, here at the inside of the doors, on the back part, that is now hard pack, sadly. So that's the second floor next to the missing hydraulic struts. Again, they really save millions of money, probably with these cost savings. And they say, yeah, you know, most customers won't really care. Well, we care here as car enthusiasts, but I can also understand the decision from the economical standpoint. Sitting in the rear is also actually quite cozy, and I mean standard compact segment alike. Also fits here with my knees when I have the seat as I would be in the front. There are some pockets here at the back part of the seat. It is a quite voluminous sport seat. Also you can see the leather red accentuations here, for example. But again, considering it's voluminous, you still can comfortably sit here also as a tall adult in the rear. So I would be happy with that. Headroom is like this. If you want more legroom, then you would need to go to the Skoda Octavia, for example, or the Seat Leon. Seat Leon will also be available as Cupra version, then competing with this one, but well, rather with the Golf Arden, depending on the exact Cupra version. Then you flip the seats already from here, as we know from a generation season before, always thinking like, in series season, so on. Then there are the Isofix at the outside parts, and cup holders here, but they are non-adaptive whatsoever. Ski hatch for the middle part to load things through. And in the middle console, you also even have a heated seating and a separate climate unit, optional of course. And below, 2 USB-C chargers. For opening a trunk, you still have this nice logo flip right there. And then there are some standard square dimensions, so to say. There's a little bit more space underneath. In this case, also for the sound equipment, but you can also fit a spare tire. Here we go, and you can actually flip the seats from here if you reach over like this, and that from the rear compartment. So that's how it looks like. And if we take some measurements, again, it hasn't changed from previous generation. This is here 67 centimeters in length. We'll have about a meter in width, and the height to the top cover is about 42 centimeters. And when we then measure everything up to my driving seat, as I was sitting in the car, this one then is 1 meters and 50. Last but not least, we could either use the ski hatch for the middle part or flip that one for the maximum setup. Let's take a short look at the GTE interior. It's almost the same as in the GTI, also comes with the same equipment, but then again the digital instruments, for example, have a GTE badge and also a blue scheme, also a blue inlet at the steering wheel with a GTE logo, and the seats, they are with the same base structure in the checkered or scale paper structure, but then have the blue contrast and also some blue contrast stitches around. To me, the most beautiful, because blue is my favorite color, so I would really pick the GTE as for the interior styling. Of course, mainly the choice is between which engine you pick. So really almost same features, exterior and interior, and also what you get as standard equipment, what's optional. Most is the same for GTI, GTE and GTD. It's really about the color nuances. And of course, the engine choice, as we talked about earlier. Here, a rather blue screen setup here, for example, for the instruments, and the seats with gray nuances. So you have the same structure in this checkered structure or the scale paper structure, but then in gray with the same very nice sport seats with the integrated head restraint. So what's your favorite interior-wise for today? GTI, GTE or GTD? And now to our conclusion for today with the all-new VW Golf GTI and the siblings, the GTE and the GTD. Well, in general, the rather evolutionary change of the base Golf is here a little bit different with the GTI. The new GTI looks actually stronger than before with a front design and of course this daytime running light. This is something with really fancy in the front right there. And I think also that the rear with the spoiler and with the big exhaust, that looks almost as a top sporty GTI version before, now in the base GTI, so pretty fancy as for that. The interior, more has been done there, especially as for digitalization. You can argue if the whole buttonless concept is really good for the user. We talked about it in general Golf 8 review already, so mixed feelings about that, but you of course get more features, that's cool. Also more elaborate software systems and so on, natural voice input and so on. Cool also with the seats here with the integrated head restraint. They are really fancy and comfortable at the same time. And I would actually say, you can pick a Golf GTI just as it comes from works without any optional extras. Yeah, maybe the 18-inch wheels look, of course, cooler than. But basically, you can go for a base GTI and you already get a full package, and that's it. So, really like the new GTI here. What's your opinion on that? And of course, we took a look at the GTE and the GTD, all with their different color schemes. Of course, the main difference is then the engine concept. Which one do you prefer? Can you maybe charge with the GTE at home? And of course, as for the taxation, especially in Germany, the GTE is more attractive now. So together with the bigger battery, there will be more GTE sales than before. Or then again, you can still go for the diesels. As for the color, you can pick any color for every vehicle, so that's really not the thing. But we could also show different colors than today, so you should not rate like which one you pick by the exact color shown today. More like which engine would you prefer, GTE, GTI or GTD? And from the whole styling, here more with the red, GTE more with the blue, GTD then rather with this gray contrast, or let's say non-contrast. Which one is your favorite, exterior and interior? Let's discuss this in the comments, and I hope that you also tune in when we drive one of these three, or maybe all three together. We'll see you there.